When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Aloe or Allbirds, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and great marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does online business better than Shopify. It's home of Shop Pay, the #1 checkout in the world. You can use it to boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through to checkout. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to upgrade your selling today. That's shopify.com/income.
How many discounts does USAA Auto Insurance offer? Too many to say here. Multi-vehicle discount, safe driver discount, new vehicle discount, storage discount, legacy.
How many discounts will you stack up? Visit USAA.com/auto discounts. Restrictions apply.
This content may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion advised.
I walked farther down the platform, trying to put more distance between us, but he continued to follow me. All I was doing was going farther into a dead end.
The man chased me through the store as I scrambled through the aisles, trying to get away.
Goosebumps raised on my arms. I glanced at my coworker, and she was clearly as terrified as I was. We locked eyes, and without a single word, we came to an agreement.
From Killer Podcasts, true tales of horror, bizarre happenings, unexplainable events. This is Disturbed. Hello, and welcome back to the show. This week, we have 3 creepy experiences that will keep you looking over your shoulder. So sit back, listen closely, and dive into the horror. First, a customer lurks in the alley after close. Narrated by Akisha Archer from Reddit user RedditRanter02.
I've been working at a local restaurant for the past 2 years. My area has a relatively high homeless population, so I'm used to seeing them come in, order a drink with cash, and stay for hours. Until 2 months ago, I only had 2 incidents. A fight between a homeless man and a roided-out gym bro, and some people shot up heroin in the bathroom once. But one day, something happened that made me afraid to go back to work. Near the end of the shift one day, me and 3 other female coworkers were getting ready to close when a man in his 40s came in. He had a stained brown t-shirt, messy appearance, and ripped jeans, clearly homeless. He ordered a soda, paid in cash, and chatted a bit with my coworker. It was all pretty typical. Until he asked if she was working alone that night. She told him no as professionally as possible, explaining that all 4 of us were working tonight. He nodded and sat down at the table in the corner. 20 minutes later, it was time to officially close and lock the doors. My coworker politely told the man that we were now closed, and she said she was sorry, but he had to go. He got up, meandered towards the door, throwing his bottle away as he left. We finished closing up, cleaning and putting everything away, until the only thing left was to take the trash out. The dumpster we used wasn't nearby. With 5 bags of trash, my coworker and I went behind the restaurant, across an abandoned set of railroad tracks, across another street, and into a back alley where the dumpster was. As we were tossing the trash away, we heard a voice from behind us. "You girls need any help with those?" I whipped around, scared shitless. It was the homeless man from earlier standing about 15 feet down the dark alley. "No thanks, all good," I said, trying my best to hide my fear. The man didn't reply, but he left, disappearing around the corner. We threw out the last 2 bags and headed back down the alley. Before we could reach the end, the man reappeared. He started asking all these leading questions, like, "How old are you? How long have you worked here? And you guys ever get scared walking alone in the dark?" We gave him short answers as we brushed past, walking briskly towards the restaurant, but he followed us. "Where do you guys go to school? Any plans after work?" He kept berating us and started making gross comments about our appearances. I was getting more worried by the second. Then he said, "You have a very lovely figure. It'd be shameful of me to just let you walk away." Goosebumps raised on my arms. I glanced at my coworker, and she was clearly as terrified as I was. We locked eyes, and without a single word, we came to an agreement. At the same time, we broke out into a sprint, racing towards the restaurant. We ran across the street and over the tracks, not daring to look back. When we reached the back door, we flung it open and quickly slammed it shut, collapsing onto the floor as we caught our breath. Unfortunately, it wasn't over yet. All 4 of us needed to leave out that door to get to our cars, and we didn't know if he'd be waiting for us. We gathered our things and left at the same time, rushing to our cars and locking them immediately before pulling out one by one. I was last in line, and as I turned onto the road, I caught a glimpse of something in my rearview mirror. It was the man, running towards me. He was only 20 feet away in the middle of the street, frantically waving his hands as if to get me to stop. I felt a cold shiver run through my entire body. Before I even realized it, he was right next to my car. The street was small and there was a lot of lights, so I wasn't able to just speed away. I didn't know what to do. So I cracked my window as lightly as possible and shouted, "I'm not interested and I just want to go home." He was absolutely furious. With his jaw clenched and the veins in his forehead popping, he screamed at me, threatening my life and demanding I get out of the car. I knew I had to do whatever it took to get away from him. In an instant, I threw my car into reverse and floored it, taking him by surprise. I sped down the street to create some distance, spun the car around, and raced away. I haven't seen him since, but that experience has shaken me. What if I had taken the trash out alone that night?
Welcome back, listeners. When a late-night train is delayed, a student is trapped with a stalker. Narrated by Sinn from Reddit user Whitehair1.
When I was 18, I had a terrifying experience at a train station that I'll never forget. I was in another city, just under an hour away from home. I just spent the weekend with my girlfriend, and I was headed to the station to catch a ride home. When I got to the station, I realized I left my Metro card at her place, so I decided to hop the turnstile. As I did, I happened to lock eyes with this guy who was standing on the platform. He was in his 30s or 40s maybe, had disheveled grayish hair and wore a beaten-up white tank top. For whatever reason, I caught his attention while he was in the middle of yelling, which caused him to stop. I didn't think much of it. I had my headphones in, and I intended on keeping to myself, so I continued farther down the platform. As I walked, I got a strange feeling that he was following me, but I thought I was probably just being paranoid. I got halfway to the end of the platform and faced the empty tracks before stealing a glance back towards the man. I was right. He had been following me, and now that I had stopped, he had too. Now he was pacing back and forth, talking to himself. To make matters worse, an announcement came over the PA system. "Trains are delayed." Oh, fuck. I was stuck waiting for the train with this guy, and since it was getting late, the platform was nearly empty. Even if I wanted to leave, I'd have to pass him to get to the only exit. I needed some way of protecting myself, so I FaceTimed my brother. With my earbuds still in, I held up my phone, giving him a good view over my shoulder so he could warn me if anything happened. He told me that the man was staring at me while pacing back and forth erratically, just growing more and more aggressive by the second. I began to literally shake in fear. I walked farther down the platform, trying to put more distance between us, but he continued to follow me. All I was doing was going farther into a dead end. I frantically swiped through my phone, trying to find updated train times and praying that it would just arrive any minute. I stood there for what felt like hours, waiting for the train to come, or the man to make his move. Finally, after 10 minutes, the train arrived, but it rolled up a lot slower than usual. When the train finally came to a stop, the man just walked away, almost as if he was giving up. I got home safely, but my brother has a troubling theory about the man. He thinks the guy was waiting to shove me in front of the train as it arrived, and the only reason he didn't was because the train was too slow. I think he also could have wanted to rob me, but saw I was on the phone and decided not to. Whatever his reasoning, I hope I never have an experience like that again.
Don't run away. Disturbed will return in a moment. Finally, a fun night out takes a turn when her friend disappears. Narrated by Jude Erin from Reddit user Ikando.
I lived in China for 5 years in my 20s. I had an amazing time, but I have one awful memory. My friend and I were in Qingdao visiting for the weekend. We decided we wanted to hit the town, so we hopped in a taxi and told the driver to take us to the closest bar, even if it wasn't popular. He took us to this club that was pretty dead. Only about a quarter of the tables were filled, and the bar was completely empty. Still, we were here for it. We sat at the bar and ordered a round of beer. My friend took out a pack of pills. She was an addict who took literally 12 Lunesta a day, often doing 6 at a time before drinking. As a dumb 20-year-old, I was eager to please and eager to party, so I asked her for one. She initially refused, saying I couldn't handle it, but after a bit of back and forth, she gave me half of one. Down the hatch it went. Suddenly, cut from black, the club is now booming. There's a big guy in my face, talking to me like we're in the middle of a conversation, and the bartender slides us over 2 shot glasses. The guy gestures to cheers, so I cheers and drink. Fade to black. Cut from black again. Now the club is nearly empty. It's only me, the big guy, the staff, and a couple of stragglers. I'm becoming pretty lucid. Big guy says he doesn't know where my friend is, but he knows how to get me back to my hostel and offers me a ride. I accept and hop in the front of his van. We're driving and driving and driving. It was taking way longer than our taxi earlier took. Or at least it felt like it. When I asked him about it, he said, "Oh, no, we're going back to my place. I've got some friends there who really want to meet you." My brain went, fuck. I immediately started trying to quietly find a way to escape. I noticed the door was unlocked, but we were driving too fast for me to jump out. And it's not like people would see something bad happen and step in to help. That just doesn't happen there. I'm taking stock of everything I have on me, and it all comes together. I feel my cigarettes. I see a 24-hour convenience store at the upcoming intersection. The light is yellow. The light turns red. As soon as we were slowed enough, I screamed, "I have to buy cigarettes!" I flung the door open and ran into the Unimart. I begged and pleaded with the cashiers to call the police, but they refused and started yelling at me to get out of the store. Then the big man walked in. He looked right at me and started speed walking in my direction. Again, I screamed for someone to call the police, but they just kept yelling, "Get out! Get out!" The man chased me through the store as I scrambled through the aisles, knocking over displays between us and trying to get away. Suddenly, the door opens again, and it's the police. I rush behind them and point to the big man. "He's trying to take me! He's trying to take me!" The cops were really confused at first, but the big guy couldn't explain why he was chasing me. They threw us both in the back of separate cars and took us to the station. A detective sat me down in his cubicle and had me explain the situation. Since I was foreign, he asked why I was in China and made me show him my passport. He left, and after a few hours, they let me go. The detective said the big guy gave them a fake ID and that he was actually from Hong Kong. Apparently, he refused to explain why he was in Qingdao, and they were planning on holding him for further questioning. I asked the cops for some help because I had no money for a taxi, and my phone was dead. But they refused and kicked me out onto the street. Thankfully, I was able to find a taxi driver that sympathized with my story and traded him a cigarette for a ride back to my hostel. I found my friend back at our room, still passed out from all the drugs. It was an awful night, but I was glad that she was safe.
Want more Disturbed? Check out our Patreon for member-exclusive content, early merch access, and other cool perks. I'm your host, Doug Bailey, and this has been Disturbed, a production of Killer Podcasts and part of the Evergreen Network. For more paranormal and true crime shows, visit killerpodcasts.com. Follow our social channels at Disturbed Podcast on Instagram or Disturbed_pod on Twitter. If you enjoyed the show, please consider subscribing and reviewing on your favorite listening platform. Share your own true horror story at DisturbedPodcast.com. Music by Epidemic Sound and by Carl Casey at White Bat Audio. Our producer is Declan Roars. Audio engineering by Nathan Corson, Will Pritz, and Sean Rule Hoffman. Executive producer Bridget Coyne. Until next time, stay safe out there.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams Labor Day sale and get 35% off paints and stains August 22nd through September 4th. With prices starting at $31.84, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your interior or exterior, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store or shop the sale online. Delivery available on qualifying orders. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.